Hey guys, how's it going? Survivor Series 2018 went down tonight, and it is one of WWE's big four pay-per-view events of the year. It's the last one before the road to WrestleMania kicks off at the Royal Rumble, and it's usually, depending on if you like that brand warfare type of show, that you usually like it or you don't like it. I know some people hate the Raw vs. SmackDown thing because it's not really brand warfare. I personally enjoy it. I like see which brand is rated as the best brand of the year based on in-ring matches. And that was the theme for this year's Survivor Series again, brand warfare, Raw versus SmackDown. It had a number of matches where the two wrestlers from both shows were going up against each other. And let's break it down. First match was on the kickoff show. It was a tag team division match with teams representing SmackDown and Raw going up against each other. For SmackDown, it was the New Day, the Colognes, the Good Brothers, Sandy, and the Usos taking on Team Raw, which consisted of the Revival, the Lucha House Party, the Ascension, the B Team, and Rude and Gable. This was a good match, really solid match actually. It picked up once there were only 4 teams left. It was Gable and Rude along with the Revival for Raw taking on New Day and the Usos. There was the final 4 teams, and the pace for this match picked up pretty good when it was just those 4 teams. There were some other cool spots with the other teams involved. For example, Lucha House Party had a cool double moonsault spot, but in the end, the Usos picked up the win for Team SmackDown. They were the sole surviving SmackDown team, and it was a good start to the Survivor Series pay-per-view with that tag team division kickoff show match. And that would be the only win SmackDown would get throughout the night. And yeah, so it was pretty much Team Raw domination throughout the entire show, but SmackDown did get one win over Raw, and it was on the kickoff show. The next match was on the live show. It was another SmackDown versus Raw match. This was a women's division match. Team SmackDown being represented by Carmella, Naomi, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Asuka. Team Raw had Mickie James, Tamina, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. Earlier in the night, Natalya and Ruby Riott were pulled from Team Raw because they got into a fight in the locker room. So they were replaced by Bayley and Banks. And then Team SmackDown announced that Mandy Rose was the final piece for the Team SmackDown, because Charlotte was replacing Becky Lynch in that match against Rousey. Overall, it's just an okay match. It was the first match on the card, and following that crazy sequence to end the tag team match on the kickoff show, this match didn't really live up to those standards. It was serviceable though. Pretty much every woman in the match got their time to shine. And in the end, Team Raw got the win over Team SmackDown. Nia Jax ended up picking up the win for her team by pinning Asuka in the end. So they're building up Nia Jax as this dominating heel, and she was getting Roman Reigns type of heat for taking Lynch out with that huge forearm to the face this past Monday on Raw. The crowd was not happy that Lynch was not wrestling, and they let Jax hear about it. And kudos to WWE for capitalizing on that heat by making sure Jax was the sole survivor for Team Raw and really amplifying the heelness she has been showing as of late. The next match was Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Rollins representing Raw in the Intercontinental Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura representing SmackDown and the United States Championship. This was a really good match. It started out pretty slow, but it was just like a slow burn. It got better the longer it went. Pace picked up nicely toward the end. Rollins and Nakamura have really good chemistry together. A number of instances where I thought either guy could win. I for sure thought Dean Ambrose was going to get involved, but he was nowhere to be seen during the match or throughout the entire night. And in the end, Seth Rollins got the win with a curb stomp over Shinsuke Nakamura. So that's another win for Team Raw. SmackDown had a win on the kickoff show match at this point. And even though they did win that kickoff show match, WWE did not count it for some reason. Every time they updated the score, there was always Raw shutting out SmackDown. So yeah, that's WWE logic for you. But anyway, this was a really good match, and it was announced later in the night that Seth Rollins will defend his Intercontinental title against Dean Ambrose at WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs next month. After that, it was The Bar versus the Authors of Pain. This was the worst match on the card. It was kind of a joke. You had Drake Maverick in there pretty much losing all credibility. There was a spot where Big Show had his hand around Drake Maverick's throat. Maverick wet his pants, and I guess it was supposed to be humorous. They were trying to like recapture that magic of the Austin Vince McMahon segment where McMahon 316 says, "I just, peed himself." And yeah, they tried to do that with Maverick. It just came across as stupid. Maverick kind of just looks like a clown at this point. And AOP got the win based on that wetting of Maverick's pants distraction, I guess. So yeah, worst match on the card, not very good. AOP beats The Bar. Next match, this was one of the best matches on the card. Buddy Murphy taking on Mustafa Ali. Fantastic match. This is for the Cruiserweight title. Tons of high spots. 205 Live has really upped their game recently. With Triple H taking control, I believe, a couple months ago. The wrestling match quality has been off the charts. This was no exception. Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali delivered in the ring. A lot of cool spots. Definitely check it out. In the end, Murphy retained the Cruiserweight title over Ali. Fantastic bout. If you're a wrestling purist, you will like this match a lot. And I cannot wait to see where the Cruiserweight division goes from here. Buddy Murphy has been killing it as a heel. He's now the face of the division, and I really like what they're doing with him as the top guy in 205 Live. After that, it was the men's Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw of Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman taking on Team SmackDown, which had The Miz, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Shane McMahon. Great match, chaotic, a lot of cool spots. Different storyline elements being intertwined perfectly. Cool spots, Shane McMahon doing a elbow drop from the ring to Strowman through the announce table. And then he had coast to coast to Ziggler. Went for another coast to coast, I think, on Bobby Lashley, but Strowman just clotheslined him out of midair. And so it was a very, very fun match. Rey Mysterio doing 619, which is always fun to see. But in the end, Team SmackDown lost to Team Raw. Strowman, I think, eliminated 4 guys from Team SmackDown all alone, so they're still building up Strowman as a beast, and they did that again tonight. So after the match, he was attacked by Corbin, so it looks like it's going to be Corbin versus Strowman at tables, ladders, and chairs, and then possibly Strowman versus Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the Universal title. But anyway, Team Raw beat Team SmackDown tonight. Next match on the card, Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. It's supposed to be Becky Lynch. Personally, I would have loved to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. I was going to be rooting for Lynch the entire way, but she could not compete due to injury and a concussion, so they had Charlotte in there, and this was a fun match. The real story here was after the match. So Charlotte ended the match with a kendo stick shot to Ronda Rousey, so Rousey and Raw get the win via disqualification, and Charlotte just snapped, hitting Rousey with the kendo stick multiple times, had her in her neck in like a chair and stomped on the chair. She was taking out referees. It was very reminiscent of the way Ken Shamrock used to snap back during the day. So this is a new character dynamic for Charlotte, and the crowd was cheering for it. They were cheering for Becky, and Ronda Rousey starting to get those boos now. I had a feeling this would happen because they seemingly strapped her back to the rock and just sent it soaring. Too much success, too fast. Wrestling fans don't like that. They like to see the wrestlers earn it. Rousey is kind of giving that impression that she's just been handed it. So yeah, Rousey was getting some boos. They were cheering for Charlotte, cheering for Becky, who wasn't even there. And so Charlotte lost to Rousey via disqualification. Rousey was a bloody mess. Her mouth was bleeding. Her ear was bleeding. She had welts from the kendo stick. So I'm very interested to see where this goes from here. If it could possibly lead to a rematch between Rousey and Charlotte at the Royal Rumble, or perhaps tables, ladders, and chairs. And maybe we can get that Becky Lynch versus Rousey match at WrestleMania, hopefully. Next match after that was Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, WWE Champ versus the Universal Champ. At this point, Team Raw had run away with the competition in terms of brand warfare, and this match was just to see who was the better champion between the two brands. And it started out as a total squash match. Brock Lesnar was owning Daniel Bryan pretty much the entire first half of the match. And then there was a spot where Lesnar was picking up Bryan. It looked like Bryan was smiling a little bit. Bryan gets in and gets his butt whooped, and then Lesnar went for an F5. Bryan's foot hits the ref, knocks the ref down. Bryan hits a low blow and a running knee, and I thought that was the match. I thought Bryan was going to pick up the win. Not the case. Lesnar kicked out, but Bryan did get in a lot of offense, and you really thought Bryan was going to win this bout. He ended up trapping Lesnar in a yes lock. Brock had Bryan up for the F5. His knee gave out because Bryan had been working on it throughout the match. Bryan was able to turn that into the yes lock, but unfortunately, Brock got out, hit Bryan with an F5, and got the win. So, Team Raw dominated Team SmackDown tonight. I think the final tally was 6-1. But this Bryan versus Brock match, really good match. Rousey versus Charlotte was a good match. The men's Team Raw versus Team SmackDown match was good. The tag team Team Raw versus Team SmackDown match was good, and then the Cruiserweight Championship match was really good as well. So if you're going to watch Survivor Series, I highly recommend you do so. You will not be disappointed. Lots of good in-ring action throughout. No really shady finishes, no run-ins, no interferences. It was, aside from the disqualification finish, every finish was a pinfall. So yeah, fun match, fun matches, fun show to watch. Highly recommend it. That's all I got for you. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com. Give me a follow on Twitter at Cincy Fan Zone. Links to both of those are in the description below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.